Hello guys, it is Shivam here. Welcome to our new video. Today we are diving into the world of Flutter and Firebase to explore one of the most essential feature, phone authentication. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button so that you will stay updated with the all our Flutter Firebase tutorials, helping you to become a Flutter Firebase Pro in no time. So let's get started. But before moving to the code, I want to reveal the incredible app we are going to build together. So now I will test the app on my real Android device and I will enter my phone number and will authenticate through the OTP. So as you can see the screen of my real Android device, now I will enter my phone number here and will click on the continue button and wait for a few seconds. As you can see, Firebase is running some verification method here. So I got the notification of my OTP here. So let's check what 6-digit number I got in SMS. So I will enter the same 6-digit code on my dialog box here and will click on the done button. So as you can see, we have successfully moved inside the app. So as you can see on the pages folder, I have created the new file name home.dart where I have wrote the complete UI for our app. But the main process come is adding the phone authentication in our app and get authenticate with the help of OTP and directly move to the app. So as you can see, I have created the numeric pad.dart file inside the pages folder. Basically on this dart file, I will show all the digits in our home page of the app from where the user can type the phone number and can authenticate in our app. But before adding the function in our home.dart file, I need to add the Firebase here. So let's move to the Firebase and I will write the project name here. So I'm writing phone auth and will click on continue. Now again on continue. Use default account for Firebase. Click on continue. Wait for a few seconds. As you can see, Firebase is creating our project. So as you can see, our project is ready. Now click on continue and we'll move directly to our project that we have created on the Firebase. So as you can see, you can connect a 3 app directly to the Firebase, basically iOS, Android and web. So first I will add the iOS app here, then we will move to the Android app. So I will click on iOS. We need a Apple bundle ID here, so we will move to the Xcode and copy the bundle identifier from there and paste it here. Move to the runner, click on signing and capabilities. Copy the bundle identifier from here and paste it on Firebase. Now click on register app, wait for a few seconds. Now download Google service-info.plist file and we need to paste it on Xcode. And make sure it should be Google service-info.plist file. If anything is written rather than this, then make sure you edit them as you can see here. Now copy and move it below the info. Click on finish. So it is done. Now click on next, again on next, next. Now continue to the console. So we have successfully added the iOS app here. Now let's close the Xcode. Now we'll move to the Android app. So we need an Android package name here. So we'll move to the Android app build.gradle file and we'll copy the application ID from here and paste it on Firebase. Now click on register app. download the Google service.json file from here and we need to paste it on Android app folder. As I said below, it should also be in Google service.json file. If anything is written rather than this, then make sure you edit them. Now paste it on Android app folder. So it is done. Now click on next and we need to copy this Google service file into Android build.gradle file and we'll remove some of the text here. So it is done. Now let's move to the Firebase again. So we need to copy the Google Service plugin from here and paste it inside Android app build.gradle file. Now we need to add some dependency on the same folder. It is done. Now click on next. Now continue to the console. So as you can see, we have successfully added the iOS and Android app here. Now let's move to the pub dev and we need to copy some of the package from there and paste it inside the pub.yaml file. So I will search Firebase core here, will copy the dependency here and paste it inside the pub.yaml file. We'll do same for the Firebase auth. Now command S to run all the packages. So now let's move to the main.dart file and we need to add the 2 lines of the code here to initialize the Firebase in our app. So now let's move to the home.dart file again and we'll add the function name sign in with mobile number here and we'll write some of the code to get authenticate in our app. User credential. Basically user credential will help us to get authenticate in our app. User, write user and we'll use a try function here and we'll await auth. So I forget to call the auth function here. So I will write final Firebase auth and we'll auth and we'll get that using a firebase.instance. Basically this auth will help us to get the authentication in our app through the Firebase and we'll use auth.verify number to verify the number we have entered on this text field. Now if verify is completed then this function will be called here. So I need to add the few lines of code inside the verification completed function so that it will be called once the user entered the number and they will get the OTP in their device and they will enter their OTP and when they click on done and if that verification is completed then this verification completed function will be called and if anything is returned in this function then this function will be move to the user inside our app using a navigator push material page route function. Context, and we'll move to the dart file name done here. Basically, done is something I have created just to move to the user inside the app. So if the verification is failed, then we want to print the error why the verification has been failed. So we can then look to that error and can solve our problem quickly and can get authenticate in our app. So I want to print the error in my terminal section so that I can get why the authentication is creating some problem in our app. Now, code send. Basically, code send function is called whenever the user enter the phone number on this text field and he will click on the continue, then the code will be sent to his device. And here comes the code send function will be called when the code will be sent to his device. So we need to write some of the function inside the code send function so that it will be called whenever the code will be sent to the user device here. Basically, I want to show a dialog box here using a show dialog function, and whenever the user will get the SMS of the OTP which will be of 6 digit, then the show dialog function will be called and it will show a dialog box where the user can enter the OTP and will click on the done button, and then the app will check if the OTP matches with the OTP that we have wrote inside this text field, and if the OTP matches with the OTP they have sent in our device through the SMS, then the app will allow us to go inside our app. So this whole function will be handled by the code send function here. So to handle the text inside the text field, I need to write text editing controller here. So text editing controller code controller equals to new text editing controller, and we'll write a main axis size dot min. Basically main axis size covers the minimum space in the main axis side of the column. The reason for writing the barrier dismissible to false is because it prevents the user from dismissing the dialog by typing outside of it. It means that if I got the dialog box when I will click on the continue button to enter the OTP, and if the user clicks outside the dialog box, I don't want to close that dialog box. If the user type anything outside the dialog box, which will give a bad experience for the user, and he need to write the phone number again and click on the continue button to get the OTP again, which will be a long process. So using a barrier dismissible to false allows that if the user tap outside the dialog box, then the dialog box will not close. Now, inside the dialog function, I will write a action here. Basically, action word itself tells that it takes some action whenever it is called in the dialog box. And inside the action, I will use a elevated button named done here, which will be allow us to check the OTP that we have entered on this text field and authenticate us using a phone authentication and directly move inside the app. I have wrote the string name SMS code here, and in this string we will store the number that the user enter on this text field using the code controller.text here. Then we'll authenticate the user using a phone auth credential here. So if the result is not equals to null, I mean that if the user authenticate in the app using a sign in with credential here, then we'll first close the dialog box. So I'm using navigator.pop context here. Then we'll move to the user directly inside the app using a navigator push method here. And if we got any error, then we will get the error using a catch error function here, and we'll try to print that error. Now inside the code auto retrieval timeout, basically this function will be called like whenever the user enter the number on this text field and click on continue button, then the SMS or OTP will go to his device, and using a timeout function he will check that how much time it takes the user to enter the text inside the dialog box and get authenticate in the app. Now in timeout I can give the duration like I want that once the OTP sent to his device, then the user have 45 seconds to enter the OTP in the dialog box and get authenticate in the app. If it takes more than 45 seconds, then the app will not allow him to authenticate in the app, and app will tell him to enter the phone number again and get authenticate in the app. Now we'll move to the continue button, and inside the gesture director we will call a sign in with mobile number function here that will be called whenever the user will press on the continue button here. So it is done. Now let's move to the pod file, and we need to rewrite the iOS version here. So I am making it to 13, and we'll move to the terminal and write flutter clean command. Now flutter pub get, but before running the app in our emulator, I need to add some of the function in our Xcode. So let's move to the Xcode. Basically, adding this function to the Xcode is very necessary to get the phone authentication in our app. Basically, this process is same what we usually do in the Google authentication. So if you are new to this channel, then I have made many more videos in Flutter Firebase authentication like email and password authentication and sign in with Google and Apple authentication too. So you can have the look at these videos to, you can find all the videos link in the description box. Now let's move to the Xcode and we'll go to the Google service info.plist file and we'll copy the reverse client ID from here and we'll go to the info. Now just follow me what I am doing here to exact all that things what I will do inside the info file here. Now paste that we had copied in URL schemes here. We are doing this all things just to get the authentication in our app. As I said, we need to do all these things in Google Authentication too. You need to do all the things I have done here exactly. If you miss any of the things I have wrote here, then you will might face the error whenever you will run the app in your emulator or real device. But before running the app, let's move to the Firebase and we need to enable the phone authentication in our Firebase. So we'll click on authentication, click on get started button and we'll move to the phone, click on enable, click on save. So as you can see, phone has been enabled now. Now let's move to the app again and we'll write flutter clean command again. Now flutter pub get. So as you can see, our app has launched successfully. Basically, this is just the emulator. So when you will write a phone number here and will click on continue, so this emulator doesn't have a SIM card in it. So there is not a specific phone number that we can write in this emulator. So we will not get the OTP here. But to test the app in our iOS device or any of the device, we can move to the Firebase and we will go to the phone section and we'll create a phone number and we'll enter a 6-digit OTP here. Sorry, I forgot to write one of the main function inside the verify phone number here. So inside the hot.verify phone number, we'll write a phone number function here and I will write my country code here and we'll add the phone number string where we have stored our phone number. Now we'll hot restart again and I will use the same phone number that we have added to the Firebase just for the testing purpose. We'll click on continue. So as you can see, Firebase is running some verification method here and we got the dialog box here and a text field. Now we need to enter the OTP here. So I'm writing 123456. Now click on done. So as you can see, we have successfully moved inside the app. So now I will test the app on my real Android device and I will enter my phone number and will authenticate through the OTP. So as you can see the screen of my real Android device. Now I will enter my phone number here and will click on the continue button and wait for a few seconds. As you can see, Firebase is running some verification method here. So I got the notification of my OTP here. So let's check what 6-digit number I got in SMS. So I will enter the same 6-digit code on my dialog box here and will click on the done button. So as you can see, we have successfully moved inside the app. So it is done from this video. If you want to learn more about the Firebase authentication, you can find the video related to email and password authentication and sign in with Google and Apple too. I will paste all the link in the description box. So if you like this video, do not forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can be a part of our growing community of developers and learners. So go ahead, click the subscribe button. So keep coding, keep having fun. Until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.